So this video recording is done way after I didn't even do a commentary on this, whether on stream or offline. Basically right now, but depends on when you watch this. Right now I'm feeling really sick, especially the throat, so I didn't stream this. Yeah, but I won't be doing too much commentary on this, just to save my voice. But this one was pretty self-explanatory, so I'll just let you guys watch this.
I never lose.
I believe this is what the goddess will save us.
Run before it's too late.
Can you hear the approaching ruin? See how much better I am? Ultimate!
Let's start with something light.
I'll interject one thought here, is that this use of C-Armin, SSB, DN, I'm using this a lot. I'm seeing other people use this a lot. Very safe team. SSB is very good on this. C-Armin, of course, with the immunity. DN with the anti-crit buff. DN turn cycles fast, barrier, heals, and attack buffs. Super good for SSB here, as you can see. But yeah, you guys have seen me do this countless times now. It's like one of my go-tos. It's a very safe option. That was very lucky. MLK would have one-shot me. This MLK was built as a damage dealer. If I crit him, I lost my C-Armin. But anyways, yeah, that's it for this this part.
Now, bring it on. I'm getting tired of you. Bye-bye now.
A roaming heart, forever wandering.
This team comp, again, also seen countless times. I know people are just like, wow, it takes 20 years. You should do some stylish comps. This is why people fail attacks when they run into these kind of meta comps. They're anti-cleave, so you're not really gonna go stylish here. You need to out bruiser this kind of bruiser comp. This is in retrospect, this is a cheaper version of RB Charles RB Charles and FCC. With the Kron supplemented there. Of course, Mortalis or Mortales uses RB in Team 1, trying to spice things up. But he's got the right concept. This is anti-cleave, high damage. If it's not the proper sustain and crowd control like you have with Dizzy, it's hard to win this type of team. I mean, you can Dark Corvus and hopefully out tank it, but it's a gear check at that point. Dizzy is absolutely broken. Very useful in the offense team, I feel.
I would give my life. Now isn't the time to hesitate.
I'll help you. It's going to be okay.
Away with you.
So, 喧嘩なんて退屈ですよ。
Shall I have a go?
Is it my turn?
In these fights, ideally your Crow is enough to resist FCC provokes, or even Lilius provokes. Another way people run it is it's like one of these combos, and it's a very common team. Charles FCC Kron, Charles FCC RB, Charles FCC SSB, and then that has been kind of like overdone, so people are just changing it up, so people are thrown off. Then I'll interject the Lilius in place of FCC for the dual attacks, the cleanse, and the knight in the team for damage mitigation. It's all good, but again, these teams, especially with Dizzy, and if you get Crow to 150 effect resistance, which is pretty hard to do, you'll have no problem with the provokes or the soft provoke from Lilius, which is just a lot better. And then of course less chance for Charles to strip your Crow's defense buff. All that good jazz. You can see I'm struggling to keep my Crow at the right HP threshold. I don't want to lower him too much, otherwise he gets one shot, and if I go too high he can't really S3 effectively. This one was a really lucky one. Mortalis is Charles in this fight. I have to say I'm very lucky. I think like he only did the S1 into S2 proc, I don't know, like 10% of the time. Like look at this, like he should have got that but he didn't. It happened like over and over. I was really surprised, especially on turns where he wasn't even debuffed. That would be scary, but he didn't do it, so I got very lucky on this fight. But either way, a high resist Crow with good speed, good HP, good defense is the way to go.
Is it my turn?
Yeah, Dizzy for these fights just need to be tanky and on a counter set ideally, just to throw an extra Abyssal Crown.
Now isn't the time to hesitate. Your torment excites.
Yeah, that right there again, you can see that was very, very unlucky for Mortalis. 70% chance, realistically. If he has the S1 EE, I'm assuming he does, but I don't know, who knows. Yeah, again, you see this struggling to keep that HP, and with Rod healing on Crow, it never lowered him enough to do S3s a lot, but here I'm like seeing if I have a chance. Again, my commentary is a defense Charles on counter is best. Look at that. If you put him on a speed set, yeah, he does some damage, but if you're crowd controlled by Dizzy, it could be kind of odd. I don't know. It's some RNG. With Charles, it comes with RNG, realistically. So speed Charles could work, it's just that you can't take advantage of I call it empty like pit stop. In these kind of fights, if the Charles is not on a counter set, just keep hitting Charles, and nothing really happens until his actual turn.
Now isn't the time to hesitate.
So I keep going for him even though he's on a counter set. But realistically, if you know he's on a counter set, not everybody can afford plus 30 Elbrus. Technically, you have less likelihood to strike a counterattack if you hit the others. But Charles is by all means the biggest threat on this team. So gotta take him out. Even in the RB iterations, we replace Kayron with RB. RB is generally like second because you can push him back with Dizzy's S2, but you can't really push Charles back. You're banking on the blind, or sorry, banking on the elemental not to miss. So then at this point, yeah, you change targets. Barriers on Kayron, so you just kill FCC and you go back and forth. And the same thing you would do for RB. But this commentary is more for like newer players. For I guess people who want to win. You may have other comps to deal with this kind of stuff, but yeah, unless you figured out like a very consistent comp, yeah, let me know in the comments below. That would be really cool, because I'm always thinking, like, you know, is there a way to do it stylishly? But yeah, these comps are super high risk. I still lose sometimes, so it's pretty brutal sometimes.
That must have been painful.
How futile.
The Alexis basket on this Kayron is going nuts. I think he throughout the whole fight he stole Charles's proc rate.
And never get back on your feet.
Yeah, as soon as that K-Ron went into stun, I wanted to hit him into Immortal, so he's dead on the next turn. Except at this point, I think I was thinking to myself, crap, that freaking barrier. Anyways, yeah, this is a slow comp, but yeah, if you want to win the Guild War, or if you want to get the mystics out of it, at least, this is a safe one. So yeah, so if you're a new player and you don't have Dizzy, if Dizzy comes back, definitely pull for her.
Now isn't the time to hesitate.
I mean, she's still useful. She's still useful. If she's allowed an RTA in the future, it's just not gonna be good for anyone's health. So that was that fight. Alright, so the second fight here. This one I got to experiment a bit more. The bottom team not so much, but the top team I got to experiment a bit. Again, the thought is like, you know, we got a Reviver and Fire Akates is like actually really good healer. I need to upgrade her gear. She's on a lot of 67s. I think like 4 pieces are 67. Her body armor, her headpiece, I think her necklace and ring. So she deserves more love. Very squishy. Mine is like 1200 defense. The imprint is at an SSS, that's why you see 16,000 there. Otherwise she's at I think 14,000 HP, very low, and she scales on HP for healing, so you want to get her HP high. But again, the thought process is like, my Akates is effect resistance is very high, and then with her EE another 50%. You can cycle that indefinitely pretty much, so you're not going to get debuffed. The only risky part was the SSB, especially this portion here. I think I ran her on a tome.
Don't waste my time.
Yeah, here I just wanted to stun. I kind of took a risk.
Were you waiting for me?
I could have did the S3 as well there.
Super maid! Chloe's coming!
Yeah, and in comparison, my maid Chloe is just slightly lower resist compared to I keep saying SSA. Compared to Fire Akates, since Fire Akates has the EE, so an extra 50% is just like too big. My maid is good effect resistance though, so she hardly gets debuffed, but yeah, it still happens. What's funny about this fight is that my Zerato never got his attack buff stripped, which is really weird. So I got very lucky in that sense too, because Zerato needs that attack buff to speed this fight up as fast as it went. Zerato's a fantastic hero, fantastic. He's in a PvE build, but it just shows how good he is. On a defense team, if I ever run Zerato, he would be built differently, but for offensive, if you could control the fight, a PvE build works. And that to be said, is like more like less speed. Mine's on a lifesteal set, so I did that dual turn there, so I can get this buff up right now while she's stunned. So it's sort of like free, so to speak, because I knew that as soon as she was released from her, that would happen right there. That defense break. If it wasn't on a turn on a cleanse, that would be really risky for my Zerato, because he can only return 2 debuffs. He can't return all 3. So if he had a defense break snuck in there, and the SCP came following, then it would have been pretty bad. Yeah, and even with that, of course, Dizzy is a debuffer, so you're fighting against like I'm assuming 100 to 200, no, 100 to about 150 effectiveness. But yeah, at the end this ended up being okay. No damage mitigation, but I saw that no attack buff on the SSB. There's only a certain amount of damage she can do. That was the thought for that one. And then the second team, of course, you guys are seeing this a lot now. My Carrot. I love her so much. Really good with Hazel. Hazel with imprint release is a 96 attack. Carrot on imprint concentration, 144 attack. My Carrot before getting the greater attack buff has already 5,000 attack with the imprints, of course. And then so I think a lot of people have seen this already. So if this is the first video you see my Carrot do this, Yeah, that's why it does so much damage. The burn damage is insanely strong, and she just does really good single target damage with the amount of attack with a great attack buff. I will have to say the MVP in this one is probably my F Maya. She counters like crazy.
I wish someone would help me. I don't know.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna build my F Maya as a bruiser, pure damage dealer, until when she gets the dev buffs.
My theory.
Right here, the threat was not a Kali. The threat was the ML Chloe, so I went for her. A Kali would not get the attack buff up, and I have this fight. I have my Hazel running on Megara's Tome, which turn cycles really quick, as you can see there. So she get heals back really quick. Heals and then buffs.
Hurry, it's urgent.
It's time to find an answer. Statistically,
There's hardly any threat on a Robbie countering because of Flame Barrier, and mine's pretty tanky. Carrot's on a Tika Scepter. Offensively, I usually run her on a Tika Scepter. If you can recycle the S3 back, it just does so much damage. So yeah, so I've said this before, especially in my Carrot review video and build video, that I use her like SSB. So like you see in this fight, a lot of people would run that DN SSB C Armin, since you got all like neutral element. This would be the same concept pretty much. Both teams work, it's just that I like using my Carrot when I can.
I wish someone would help
It's just more satisfying to me.
Just as planned.
It just depends on the element of the enemy, and that's how I judge on what to bring.
analyzing you.
You see, so that's a lot of damage without the burn.
Would you mind telling me?
Alright, so that's it for this part as well. Alright, and this is the last fight. This last fight, I actually spent a lot of time because again, I wasn't streaming this, so like there was no time pressure or whatever. So I was actually changing around my targets a lot. But this one opened up, and I just decided to try it out. I'm just regearing heroes right now. I'm leaving this portion in because I sometimes think that, you know, without my commentary, usually sometimes I leave in my re-equipment so people know like why I'm switching to certain artifacts, or hope so. But again, if you guys like these commentary type videos, let me know. But it's different. Live reaction videos are different from this, I get it. But I can go, you know, I guess take advantage of my illness. I could do commentaries like this so newer players can learn, I guess. This first one, my guildmate actually told me the stats on it. Everything else I went in blind. This one I asked like how did he take out the team 1. He said to do this team because I saw the risk of multiple damage coming in. But again, no damage mitigation, so I'll give a shout out to UV. UV was the one that told me about it. He was online on Discord at the time I did this. He's just like, put SSB on Bloodstone and you're good. And I'm like, oh yeah, that's true. They're all squishy, so it does a lot of damage, so you get it back, and you don't need Rengar specialty drink for this. It will do so much damage anyway. Yeah, and then because Kayron does AoE, RB does AoE and 2 target damage, so it's just a ton of SSB feeding. And what's funny was this Dust Devil on a Kayron proc here, so that's two bars filled from Kayron itself on my SSB's S2. It's kind of nice.
Show you what I've got.
But it's a fast Kayron on Dust Devil. I mean, there's a pros and cons to fast Kayron on Dust Devil. The idea is that at least he gets an S3, because most people usually put Kayron to the Immortal right away. So at the most he does an S3 and then into another S3. But yeah, when I saw this was easy too. I was like, okay, he could do damage, but my SSB would do that and then full heal. My Bloodstone I think is plus 18 right now. It's not maxed, but it's more than enough. I forgot about this happening, but because again, not on Alexa's basket, proof, or Aliha's knife, it wouldn't have done that much damage. Yes, if he crit, that still would have did quite a bit of damage. Assuming he has about like 200, 270 crit damage, multiply that by the damage he did, he could have killed me. But at that point, my Armin and DN could have killed it. I guess the DJ Bazaar would have been a problem. But again, I'll chalk it up to luck. I got lucky. There are some fights you know you beat it without RNG. Some fights you know you beat because of some luck on your side. And this one I did this one again. Again, like I said, Lilius SSB, Charles, FCCs, or RB, they're generally like put together because they're all AoE threats. Yeah, so one of the things is that in the past, GVG metas were like very single target threats. So like Violet, Ken, Crow, those kind of defense teams, and those are too easy to be baited. So I mean, people start learning, and you know, some people copied. Some people don't even know why they're using these heroes. It just works. But I know that there are other players, of course, that they figured this out. If you go with an AoE defense team with high damage and also high survivability, those are the hardest to kill. Toss in some RNG, like Elbrus Ritual Sword. Those kind of things, counter sets. They add a lot of difficulty to offensive fights. This one I was pretty bombarded here. See, it's like the effect resistance on that Crow would have been great. I got provoked by Lilius for 2 turns. I got the unhealable, unbuffable. So it forces Momo to have to pick and choose which one is the higher priority. So right there, my Crow, I mean, he got Elbrus, right? Right there, he got Elbrus. But Charles was stunned. So I was really lucky. Of course, he got an attack down, but he wasn't blinded. So he would have done a lot of damage. So yeah, so Crow on high resistance is one of my next goals for the free equip event. I did get very lucky on Abyssal Crown procs in this Guild War, I will admit that.
Shall we begin?
But again, I mean, this team is relatively safe. People are running Green Armin now too. Green Armin is very good with Dizzy, because if they're debuffed, and C Armin, or sorry, C Armin, Green Armin with her S1 EE, she can guarantee a stun, 100% chance, as long as your effectiveness rolls past the effect resistance check. Yeah, so Green Armin is a pretty good option too. Heals, got barrier, self-defense buff. What else does she have? Blind and poison, and like the stun and the S1 there again. And then when her S3 is on cooldown, she gets a 10% damage mitigation, AoE. So she could put on Orius and act sort of like a mini C Armin, but even without the crit. So yeah, again, the big deal was Charles. Charles had to go out right now, and then since I got a double soul there, I could push back SSB, and if I didn't, could have got a defense buff. So Crow, very good bruiser. Defense buffers, man, they're so good. You know, once SSB is out, the threat is gone. So that was pretty much the battle there.
If you're ready, let's go.
I will do my best.
Now isn't the time to hesitate.
I think I'm gonna miss the speed on Crow when I go for effect resistance, because you're going to be losing something if you're gonna pump effect resistance up. So I'm gonna miss it. But anyways, that was that. Those are my fights there, and I think here, yeah, I actually show my defense win. I'm trying out a new defense. Again, I'm trying to go like really off book, so counter to what I was talking about, those regular cancer comps. I think a lot of the times people just have difficulty dealing with new stuff, that's it. But for the video recording, I'm gonna end this here. If you guys have Discord, check out the Discord server, follow me on Twitter, subscribe to YouTube if you haven't. As always, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys next time.